Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome to another basic movie review channel. I'm Chase. Let's talk about a movie. And the one I want to talk about is Elvis. Now, this one comes to us from Warner Brothers. It is directed by Baz Luhrmann, and it stars Austin Butler as the Elvis Presley, and it's a biopic of his life from childhood to becoming a rock movie star in the 1950s while maintaining a complex relationship with his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, played by America's dad, Tom Hanks. So, going into this, I had to do a double take because I am aware of Baz Luhrmann and his career. I'm aware of his very boisterous voice when it comes to filmmaking. He's very visual. He likes to really just kind of make it a visual odyssey on the eyes. And so I've heard a lot of things about him, and I had to look him up on IMDb because I'm like, I've had to have seen something, right? I've actually seen none of his movies. Crazy. I've seen bits and pieces of Moulin Rouge. I've never seen the full thing. So, yeah, this is one of those things to where I wanted to experience a Baz Luhrmann film for the first time. And also, I wanted to be proven wrong. Because when I looked at Austin Butler, I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. This is just some teen heartthrob that looks like he was famous on TikTok for like a week. I don't know if I can trust him to lead and carry this film with this iconic person that he's portraying. I just don't see it. Now, I get it that Elvis was a heartthrob to women when he was around and everything, but still, I couldn't just wrap my head around the fact that he didn't look the part for sure. And so I was like, oh no, it just, maybe this is gonna be one of those like forced casting decisions. I have no clue. But I'm willing to give it a shot. Give it a shot on Austin Butler. Give it a shot on Baz Luhrmann. So I saw the movie, and after thinking about it for a week, I gotta tell you, I like it. I think it's a good biopic. I don't think it's like one of the best biopics out there. It goes pretty traditional with its like biopic beats that you see in many of these films. I think what really stands out for me is Baz Luhrmann's touch in terms of just the way he directed this thing and had this visual personality to it and editing flair to it that was just ferocious and vicious when it comes to really telling the story as manic as possible while still maintaining some type of stability. Like, it's not just all over the place for the sake of being all over the place. It kind of makes sense for the roller coaster that Elvis Presley kind of goes on throughout his life. I think it makes total sense. But like, that is where the magic is Baz Luhrmann's just unique voice on this film. So let's start with him. So like I said, the visual component to this film, it's visually striking. It's edited with, like I said, such ferocity and such precision. It is kind of manic, I guess, when it comes to the editing, and I can understand if people might be turned off by that. Like, it's too much, like, you gotta cool that down a little bit. Like I said, I think it actually fits with the story because of the roller coaster that Elvis Presley goes on from when he starts to when he passes. Like, his life was just crazy, like nonstop insanity to a point where he had to be in the hospital for exhaustion. So I think this type of like fast-paced editing works for the most part. There's a couple of scenes where you could have easily drawn some shots out a little bit, because there was like one particular one that I was counting down. Each cut was like a second in between each shot. I'm like, okay, in that particular instance, you probably could have not done that. But for the most part, I don't mind the kind of hyperactive editing that we got going on. I think it really kind of fits with the pulse-pounding career that Elvis Presley had. And hey, when it gets down to like the slower moments when he's like communicating with Priscilla or like his manager or his parents, like there's definitely moments where like Baz Luhrmann lets the scenes breathe. So it's not just constant like in your face like hammer, hammer, hammer. There's definitely some breathing room in some scenes, and I think it gives the actors a time to shine and really let us feel the weight of their characters. So, yeah. And yeah, I like how, like I said, colorful this film looks. It really kind of just highlights the decade that we are showing off, and I think really just it fits Elvis's life. He was just a very out there and colorful dude. Concerts every night, different pairs of clothes. Like, it kind of reminded me of like watching Rocket Man and seeing how Elton John would have a different outfit each time he performed as well. So yeah, so I like Baz Luhrmann's touch to this. I really do. I think it works for Elvis Presley and his lifestyle and Baz's filmmaking style. So it worked hand in hand. The one thing, there was a couple of things that I'm on the fence about one of them, but I didn't really care for one thing. The only thing that really kind of sticks out to me as a negative, and this has to do with the script, we spend a lot of POV on Colonel Tom Parker, Tom Hanks' character. The majority of this movie is told through his POV. I found that to be a little distant, to where I didn't feel like I fully got to know Elvis. I only got to know like the bits and pieces that like Tom Parker can recall, but like I don't know. I felt like it was a little bit distant from telling it from Elvis's POV. And so like towards the end of the movie, it kind of like stuck the landing, and it kind of it gave Elvis a little bit more like screen time and scenes and stuff, to where I'm like, okay, now it's kind of switched the POV. So it wasn't really consistent in that manner. That was the only thing that kind of stuck out to me as like, why are we telling it from his POV? I get it. Like, biopics are told like that. Sometimes it's either from like managers or spouses or agents. Like, I get that. But I think the reason why I didn't really care for it is because here's my other complaint. I'm going to go ahead and dive into the performances now. I'm kind of iffy on Tom Hanks. I still don't even know if it was a good performance or if it was one of the worst I've seen this year so far. So it's one of those things to where like Austin Butler was fantastic in this film. He proved me wrong. And I am proud to admit that like I'm looking forward to whatever he wants to do next. I think he's got a great career. This is a great stepping stone for that career. So I thought he was great, and I thought that this was a wonderful kind of showcase of like what he can do as a performer. I think he really kind of he inhabited Elvis's kind of like loose dance moves, the charm, the wit, the musical intensity part of it. Like he really embodied that character, and the accent wasn't annoying. Like I think it was like the right amount to where it wasn't like overly cooking it. It wasn't undercooking it. He hit the sweet spot for the hey, thank you very much, like that type of like. So I thought Austin Butler was fantastic, and I thought everyone else did pretty solid work. But it was mainly Tom Hanks and Austin Butler. Well, that's not true. The gentleman that played Mr. Presley, his dad, he was great. I loved his dad and his mom, those two actors. But Tom Hanks, it's the type of accent that I know is not Tom, and you're listening to it and you're like, this feels like it was some weird creative decision, and it doesn't even feel like a real person. It feels like a cartoon character. Now, I don't know if Tom Parker, when he was alive, if like this is how he sounded, but I don't know. There was something about the way he was delivering his lines and the inflection in his voice and just the sound that the accent was making. It seemed like a Looney Tunes character. So I can see why people are saying that like Austin Butler gives a great performance alongside a Razzie-worthy performance. I understand that. I'm not sure if I'm on that fence yet, but or on that side of the fence, but I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm also not going to disagree with the people that thought it was good. I'm just kind of in between. But I will say the makeup on both of these gentlemen as they aged and as they kind of progressed through the film was awesome. Definitely some great makeup work, and I really will applaud that. But performance, I'm still kind of iffy on. And then last thing to kind of note is the runtime, because I know a lot of people are looking at 2 hours and 40 minutes and like, oh my god, we're in for a beefy movie. You are, but I think it's actually edited pretty well, and the pace is actually quite sufficient throughout the entire thing. I didn't feel like anything was like slow or anything didn't make any sense. Like it was a lot of story, but I think that 2 hour and 40-minute runtime actually flew by pretty quick. So I had a decent time with it, and then as I sat and thought about it, I was like, wow, I actually kind of like that. I like the approach that Baz took, and really kind of highlighted the fame, the fortune, the glory of this man's life, while also showing us like the darker side to it, the sadness, the grief, the pain that was also in Elvis. We got to see both sides of it, and it was a lot, but I think it was all told really well, and told at a swift speed. In 2 hours and 40 minutes is something that you look at and you're like, I don't know if I want to deal with that, but I think this movie actually pulled it off. So yeah, I ended up liking Elvis. So let me know down below what you thought of Elvis, whether you liked it, loved it, hated it. What did you think of the performances? Tom Hanks in particular, Austin Butler, all that stuff. I just want to know your thoughts down below. But that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee. Thank you for tuning into my very basic movie review channel. I appreciate the stop, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.